Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by the inimitable Shano D.
That's me.
And our very special guest today.
Yes.
She is the queen of curated dating events in LA and California.
And all over the nation.
Oh, yeah. There's pop-ups, folks. It's called Chemeya Dating. Did I do it? Oh, I
You did a good job. It's Chemeya Dating.
Chemeya Dating. And we welcome Evyenía to the show.
Thank you so much. You said that so well.
Oh, you did? Good. I was worried.
It's a tough pronunciation kind of circuit for me, but I feel good about it.
Yeah, both of them were a little tricky.
Yeah.
We weren't sure. I threw a D in there somewhere.
Yeah, Shannon's like, Komodo dragon dating. Is that what it is?
It's just
cool.
dating for dragons.
That's
so
right.
So cool. They need a date too.
They do.
They need that.
Yeah, let's just get right into it because it was so cool. And I'm just happy because we have like a lot of random people on the pod, but you're like an expert in this field. It's like relevant. We're always talking about dating. Shannon's never dated, but now we have
not
you.
since I was 24, basically. A whole decade ago.
Well,
the way that we got in touch actually was she's a listener, and we had a listener submission that a lot of you guys were very upset with our verdict. It was the AITA for canceling a trip with my boyfriend last minute and breaking up with him.
Right.
That was the one where it was her dog was dying, her family dog was dying, and her boyfriend didn't text her all day, but he had planned a nice trip for her to go on the next day.
And they agreed that they would go on the trip.
They agreed they go on the trip, but then he went on a work party that night.
He worked all day and then had the work party.
Had a work party.
Yeah.
He's really fighting for the guy's side. But Danny and I both we went pretty hard on OP, who is a listener. Hello. And basically, we were siding with him, and a lot of people were upset about it. And my gal Ev over here wrote in, and she was pretty heated. And so we kind of just got into a little discussion about it. And then she was telling me a little bit about her company and all that. And then here we are. We set Danny up, and we set Danny up on a speed date.
So cool.
Yeah, it's so funny because it was just such an emotional response that I had that I pulled over on the side of the road to send.
Driving.
Yeah, I was driving, listening to the podcast, and I pulled over, and I remember I pulled over on Melrose, right near Verve Coffee. Do you guys know where that is? Okay, that's where I pulled over, and I sent this DM, and I unsent it. But somehow you still saw it.
Because I went back to look at it because I was like, I can't even remember what the situation was. I went back last night to look, and I was like, oh, the original DM isn't even there. I must have seen it right away or something.
So I was when you responded to me, I was like, did it not unsend? But such a great turnaround, and major props to Shannon for handling that so well as well.
Oh, thank you. Well, I definitely heard people out for sure because I do think, not to litigate the situation again, but just the fact that he didn't talk to her all day on her birthday, and dogs are very they are family members, so I see both sides, but I'm pulling back a little bit.
I love that you said that. That's what I said when we met, because I had heard the story from you. I said, I don't want to relitigate, but what could we have done better? And you said, show more empathy toward the girl. And I admit that we could have done that better. It's something we can always do better.
For sure.
Cover both sides.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thank you. Oh my God. And what a turnaround, Shan. Thank you too. I mean, you obviously said the right things. I would have been like, fuck you. I would have just made it right back. But yeah, I guess I'm curious. So can we start at the beginning? What got you into, what made you think I want to curate dating situations for people?
Yeah. So it really kind of fell into my lap. I was in San Francisco. This was 9-10 years ago, and 10 years ago, and I was looking for acting gigs at the time, actually, and this company had posted looking for matchmakers, and I already had a history. I studied psychology. I was always very interested in relationships, and I was always such a romantic. I always wanted to learn more about dating and relationships, and so I was like, this sounds like it could be right for me. It sounds interesting. And so I started working for a matchmaking service. And I worked for a couple of different matchmaking services. I was a personal matchmaker and dating coach. I was trained by someone who's pretty prevalent in the dating world. Don't want to say her name, just because I have cut ties with that former company. But
I don't know why my brain was like Brene Brown. Not at all what she does, but that's just all I had.
Wait, so you have to get trained to be a matchmaker? You kind of like train under somebody? Like,
yeah,
what is the
so it was
process?
it was definitely like a mix of basically like how you would become a psychologist, right? Like it's not so in depth where I had to go to school for it, but there is a mix of, you know, studying my own kind of just learning of the relationship space and the dating space and learning from people who have done it before me and learning through experience and also through intuition. Like intuition is such a huge part of it, and just being able to empathize with people and understand people's core needs. So I did that, and then I also worked on the back end of dating companies. So I was working in the product side, the marketing side. And so I really saw kind of like full circle what I felt was missing. And I wanted to create a space for people to meet in person, be off of apps, which are not working for a lot of people, and just make dating more fun again. Because it's like, I feel like dating is supposed to be, you're supposed to feel like giddy inside, right? Like a little school crush.
Some
like,
butterflies.
Why don't we feel that way anymore? I wanted to like bring that back. So that was kind of my core motivation, was just like, I want dating to be fun again for people. And for there to like be less of a disconnect between what we want and who we are inside and like what we're actually getting from the world. And so that's why like a lot of my events are just like, there's a lot of silly things happening. And then Danny, you know.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I think it's interesting how you came at that because I guess I saw it. I did obviously see it as a source. I mean, I knew it was going to be something we talked about, but I thought of it as a multifaceted kind of experience and not strictly an experience where I would meet the one. So
fun.
What's that?
That's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool what you're doing, and it's supposed to be fun. And let me say this: I actually met a guy.
Great.
I
love that.
Crazy. I actually knew two people at the event. It's one of the craziest
Oh, you
things.
knew them?
I knew two. Well, I knew of
Like
this guy. I had been to a show many years ago. Brendan Fitzgibbons, very funny comic. He had a show called Gandhi, Is That You? This was years ago in New York. And it was like a cool indie show. And so I kept playing this bit. It was kind of fun because he was like flirting with this girl. And I was like, no, this guy's famous. Like I knew this guy. Like I used to watch his show.
Gassing him up.
Yeah, gassing him up. And then this was insane. But yeah, one of the people so then you put a lot of attention, you were telling me. So the particular event I attended was a speed dating event.
Yes.
So like there's a speed dating portion, but so in the beginning the ladies all hang out and they're making new friends with each other. So I have like a ladies little social hour. When a venue allows it, the gentlemen do the same thing. So I have had bromances form. I have lots of friendships form from it. So I really want that experience where people can like meet their wingman. Because not everyone has single friends to go out with.
And then you'll be able to like not just go to this one experience, but then like in the rest of your life, like go out and potentially meet somebody.
Exactly. And so that's what I want people to get as well. Yeah. So that, and then there's the speed dating portion, and then afterwards it's more of just like a party kind of hangout, and connections can continue to form from there.
Yeah, it was a great time. I love the way it was set up, and I think the aspect of it where it's like this different, there's all these different layers is really cool because I brought out. So the other crazy coincidence is one of my actual, one of the women that I was, having this brief dating experience with. I go, yeah, I'm from. She says, where are you from in Arizona? I go, a small town. It's called Casa Grande, and she's like, I'm from Casa Grande, and I'm like, no, you're not. That's absurd.
No.
And she's like, no, I really am.
Wait, why did you guys say it like that then?
What?
Wouldn't to Casa Grande people know that it's Casa Grande?
Oh yeah, I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, I was noticing that you said it differently for each person.
Yeah,
so I was like,
said Grande and then
you Grande.
I was probably trying to impress her. I was like, I'm from Casa Grande. And I was like, shut up. That's ridiculous. You're not from Casa Grande. She's like, no, I'm from Casa Grande. I was like, really? Have you seen my video then? because I made a viral video
Oh,
about the town.
yeah.
Everybody in the town saw it. Like, come on. It's a town of 30,000, so, you know. And she was like, I know you. And I was like, what? She's like, I know you. I went to high school with you. And I was like, what?
Wait,
She's
what?
like, name I won't say, first girlfriend. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy.
And then did you remember her? Or
No, I
there's
never
a lot of
remembered
people
her.
in your school or something?
She was whatever. She was a grade below, and I went to high school with her. And I was like, no, I don't really know who you are. And then she was like, but I was like, I recognized her, but I didn't really like know her.
Yeah.
And
What
so
a small
then,
world.
yeah, small world.
Well,
but
and Danny's big in the grande, so
That's
thank
right.
you. But
He's grande in the
here's might be a
grande.
botch.
Exactly.
Here's might be a botch. I'm going to be honest.
oh gosh,
I didn't think we were compatible because the more we talked, she said, yeah, I'm actually a doctor. I'm a doctor of oncology.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, wow, damn. And I was like, and I said it like this. I was like, you know, usually on the apps, I consider medical people a deal breaker because they're too type A. And she just like viscerally just kind of like flinched at that. And I wasn't trying to be a dick. I was being honest.
Maybe that honesty didn't need to be there.
I know, but I kind of don't have. Yeah, no, okay, that's fair. I'm here for
We're gonna
notes.
say you don't
well,
have
and
a filter.
also
No, I can.
no,
filter, I
but
can
like
filter.
it's kind of what we talked about too, Danny. Where like people sometimes will take experiences of someone else happened with someone else and then put it onto a new person, right? So
Right.
like, what if the future love of your life actually works in the medical field?
Exactly.
And
you're
you just wrote them
writing
off because
off.
you think
Yeah.
they're too type A. I mean, you know, what
And
if
that-
Taylor
I'm sure that's not. Yeah, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift
What if she
became
became a doctor.
a doctor?
Dr. Swift.
Do you
Ooh,
think
I
she's
like
not type
that.
A though? She is type
She
A.
Taylor
must
Swift's
be.
type A?
Oh, she is type A.
Well, yeah.
Is that
let's
true?
see.
She's
I
type
don't
A.
know, but
Yeah.
I would
Interesting.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess my question though is that was a botch. This was not a sentence. This was not funny to say. I mean, I thought it was kind of funny. And I was trying to say it more like normally this wouldn't be a thing. I wasn't saying it like fuck you. I was more being like normally I'm kind of making an exception for you. I thought it was kind of cute.
That is negging.
Okay. Oh, that was an egg. Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Well, because also like being type A isn't necessarily a negative.
No.
Is it?
No, but I think phrasing it like, "Oh, I normally wouldn't swipe on someone like you,"
Yeah,
is.
that
Okay.
is
And I
nice.
also
Yeah.
think
Okay.
the other botch would be
James.
even bringing up like dating apps in the first place.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the other great thing about your event. It made me reflect on myself. And I do this no matter what, unfortunately. I just hate myself. But I did not say
No.
that on any of the dates.
Oh, good.
You shouldn't hate
realized-
yourself, Danny. You're great.
Thank you. I mean, I'm being cheeky. I mean, I'm obviously one of the greatest one-wheelers alive.
True.
But thank you, Shan. No, so I was thinking about this because look, I have a day job. I have a day job. And people said, what do you do? And I answered day job. You know, managing
Oh,
producer.
you should say you're a podcaster.
And I didn't say podcaster.
Comedian.
And I didn't say comedian. And so I guess.
Oh, you said what your day job is.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were saying that you said your answer was day job.
Day jobber.
No. Oh, man. Day jobber. Yeah, that would be very
And I was
odd.
like,
They're okay.
You're like,
Okay.
I think that's maybe
I'm a
why.
person, normal person, day job. No, and so yeah, I was reflecting after, and I was like, why was I doing that? And I guess I don't know. I guess I have a self-esteem issue with saying I'm a comedian when I'm not. Like that's not my main gig. But then I'm like, no, I'm not being audited.
like, remember the whole pilot situation? Not to get back into that, but
Let's get back into it. Well, so we did a classic situation where a man had a very elaborate flight simulator in his basement.
and he wanted his wife to refer to him as a pilot when asked what he
Oh.
does. But he was a manager at a chain restaurant. And so
Wow, I forgot that part. That part's brutal.
Yeah.
The gap there is quite large.
yes. And so yeah, I mean, it's not always necessarily about like how you make your money, is like what you can answer with like what do you do?
So if the man actually had been flying planes but not been a professional
I think
pilot,
we said
so
that you
comedian is a legal
could.
answer.
I think so.
Do you think I want to do another one of your events? Do
Love
you
to have you.
think okay? So what should I say when
Well, what's your day job?
I'm a managing producer at like a finance app?
Okay. Well, I mean,
can
that's
say
also very
that.
I
cool.
don't want to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah,
Then
well,
say
I think
you're-
people shouldn't be talking about work too much anyways, but I think like you should be talking about your passions, right? So you don't have to frame it as like, what should I say I do for work? It's what passions of mine do I want to talk about? I run a successful podcast. I want to talk about that. I'm a comedian. I want to talk about that. So what is it about you that you want to share? Because like work is boring for a lot of people.
So when they say, what do you do for your work? I say, oh, I do this, but my real passion is this.
Yeah, but you do also do podcasting for work.
Yeah.
Like you get paid for it.
Why don't you say
True.
both and then like move the conversation into where you want it to be?
Okay. So say all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Just
because
Danny, you should be bringing your resume to dates
yes, you should.
in paper form.
Right.
No, he's gonna take you seriously.
No, but we are not taking you exactly unseriously. I do want to get these 3 things out.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the
Yeah,
most
so
important
share
to
them,
me.
share them all. There's no one's going to be like, stop, you can only say one. Like
Yeah.
say whatever you feel like encompasses who you are and who you're becoming and whatever is like a big part of your life. Like that's really what the person wants to know, right? They want to know. I think when you ask that question, there's 3 reasons why. One, it's just an easy question to ask, right? So it's an easy thing to fall back on.
they
Two,
want to know what tax bracket you're in.
Two, exactly. They want to know
Right.
your income level and if you're just like
I'm in
stable.
such a dope tax bracket. It's so low in my
So
bracket. It's so
low.
low, bro.
People want to know that you have like a stable, like something like a stable income.
Yeah.
And then people want to know that you're excited and passionate about something.
Definitely.
Okay, that's a good note for me. I mean,
So you didn't ever say comedian or podcast.
I brought it up maybe on 1 or 2 of them,
Oh,
and then I actually I blamed you, which
Me?
wasn't fair. Yeah, I blamed you. I was like, this should have been. They should. And then I was like, no, that was my fault. I didn't say that. Like I stuck with my day job, and I guess there was no natural follow-up question like, what are your passions or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's a skill. I think there is a skill to
Yeah.
I think you just,
the
I
micro
mean,
date.
Well, I
again,
think
you do make money doing those things as well. So you can say that that is your job.
100%. 100%. I mean, look, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was so cool.
dating is hard.
And actually,
Dating is hard.
regardless, even if you make money or not, you can still say, like, I do this. And then I also have a podcast and I do stand-up comedy.
No, totally. And I guess when I normally go on a date, there's at least an hour where she tolerates me. And so I know I'm going to get into it. But, this is what was it, 7 minutes?
Yeah, I think so. I do a range between like 5 and 12 minutes.
Yeah. So I need to calibrate and really get in my points,
But also you don't. Like
Is that true?
is that so important that that's the number one thing that they learn about you in
Yeah,
those
I
5 minutes? Like they should learn your personality. They should learn like how
Energy.
lovable you
It's a
are, your
hook.
energy. Like the hook is you. We are all the
Yes, you
hooks.
need
I
to-
brought my A game. I turned it up. You know what I mean?
And he didn't even wear his hokas, too, which I was impressed.
I know. I wore my painful shoes for you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I'm wearing my
you.
painful shoes for you.
No, and you look awesome at the
thank
date. You set a great
you.
tone for everybody.
Thank you.
All the women looked great. I gotta say, some of the guys, I was
good.
like, "Oh, bros, we need some girlfriends." My man.
Really? Yeah, he texted me some photos of the shirts. I helped him with the shirt.
Love that.
Okay, so how many people were at this event? How many women, how many men?
15 and 15.
15, 15. Okay. And then you also do singles nights as well?
I do all kinds of different singles events, and then I also just do like social events. So I have a really fun immersive scavenger hunt event.
Oh,
It's so fun,
fun.
and that one is like you get paired into teams. So you can sign up with like a significant other, you can sign up with a single friend, or you can come solo, or you can come with a group. Like I've had people do it for like their birthdays.
Oh, okay.
So that one's really
Is
fun
that
too.
based on application as well, though? Because I know the other ones
Yeah, so that
are.
one isn't application based. You can when I host them, you can just purchase a ticket.
Oh, that's so fun. And then I did see that quarterly you host LGBTQIA events as well. Love that.
Yeah, we're very fascinated here. We haven't covered it in a while. We're gonna have a lesbian on, but the rules for the lesbian exes, it's like a totally different ball game. You can have your ex at a wedding. It's
Yeah.
just much
Oh,
different than the
yes.
straights.
Yeah.
We'd love to see it.
I know they're kind of they all intertwine.
I think what you're doing is really cool. And it is such a nice like break from the app culture. It's an awesome experience, which I think is cool. I mean, I guess I'm curious because you said you're an actor, and I loved how you
I
hosted
didn't realize
it.
that.
What's that?
I didn't realize that. I love that.
Yeah, and she hosts it. Like you're kind of making a show happen at the same time, and you've
a
had us questions and
performance.
stuff like that.
It is. And so I don't host every single one. I actually do
okay.
have like other female comics that I'll have host the events as well.
Other female
cool.
comics?
Yeah.
Are you a comic?
No. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not a comedian, but I have to be sometimes at my events, or I try. But yeah, I think it takes. Like you mentioned, you're an introvert. I am an introvert as well, so definitely takes a lot out of me. And I think that people don't understand like how much I'm going through the experience with you, right? Like I want you to meet someone like your failures are my failures, like your successes are my successes. So I feel like I'm constantly going through this with everyone. Like, you know, I'm spending like 70 hours a week working on these events and like really, really trying to, you know, curate the guest list, curate the experience and make sure people.
Well, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that was the other part of it was that Danny had to fill out a profile.
Yeah. It was an application.
That showed his different like top 3 what's most important to you.
Right,
I think.
and I consulted you on that. We waffled on humor was in there.
Creativity or
no, we waffled on creativity versus intelligence, and you said do creativity.
Because you always
But I
say
forgot
that you
what was the
wanted
third-
someone creative. I can't
What was
remember what the third
one
one
Remember
was.
my third one
Well, and I
was?
also said to Danny that I felt like if someone is creative, they are usually pretty emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
True.
I said, but creative, because you always mention that you want someone that's creative. What are some of the other questions?
So I have people pick their top 3 priorities, just to get a sense of like what I should focus on in terms of matching them. And then I like to get a sense of people's sense of humor, because I think that when you're talking to someone for this short amount of time, unfortunately, there's like 2 things that you're going to notice, right? It's what they look like. So is the attraction there? And then are we laughing together? Is that aligning? Are we sharing a sense of humor? And so I feel like that's some stuff that I want to know about you. And go ahead.
Sorry. So you meet with everyone beforehand, like on the
Not
phone
everyone. It depends on their tier of membership.
Gotcha.
So there are like 5. There's like, I think 5 or 6 different tiers.
Okay.
And that just kind of goes into how curated you want your experience to be. And so the higher kind of curated tiers are the ones that I do meet with, or they send in like a video to help me get to know them.
Oh, okay.
And I just kind of want to get a sense of people's vibes, right? I also want them to feel like they have a relationship with me and know that I have their back. And that I just want them to I want the experience to just be a breath of fresh air. Like that's the main thing. And I love hearing that when people say that, when they're like, it was just like such a breath of fresh air compared to the current dating landscape.
Right.
I really was. I felt hot, and it wasn't because of the girls. It was because of you. It was like, it wasn't that I felt like
confident hot, you mean, in that way? Or were you overheating?
Yeah, the confident
I was
hot.
sweating.
I didn't know if you were negging me. I didn't know what you were doing there. Yes, like hot. Like I felt attractive because your energy and attention made it feel like I matter and that like there was someone for me. Shannon keeps telling me there's no one for me. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I think that is cool, and it is a breath of fresh air. It's a banger. It's
Love
great.
that.
And then as far as the ages go, we had talked about this on the bonus, but do you, match, like what's the age range?
Yeah. People always ask me, what's the age range at this event? And it's kind of a hard question to answer because a lot of other dating events, like they're just like, okay, this event is for 20s, this event is for 30s, this is whatever.
Okay.
I don't actually do it that way. How I do it is by matches. And so the matches you're going to meet are going to be within your age range. And I always ask everyone to be open to matches that are 5 years older and younger than them.
Okay.
So keeping it pretty close. And then it might stretch a little further than that, but I would
Right.
say your core matches are going to be in that age range.
Yeah, because I feel like it would kind of have to, because it's like, say you had people between the ages of like 27 and 33 within a group. Like if you're going to go 5 years above 33 and 5 years below, then it would be more of like a larger age range. But still, I feel like that's still not too far of one. I love it. So did you have a good time?
Yeah, I had a good time.
You were nervous. He was a little
I was
nervous.
nervous before. It was an exciting thing. It was very tiring for me. I
Yeah.
think. I guess I feel like I've run into it on. It's happened on plenty of app dates. Now that I think about it, it's just the proverbial this girl. She's giving me nothing, and I'm like, can you please just put in some effort? And we were talking about it on the bonus. What's that?
You had one of those.
I had a couple. And it's just very hard on me. It's very draining to feel like...
Because it feels kind of personal, right?
Yeah, I guess it feels personal. It's not like I feel insulted. I just actually feel like physically tired. And I think that's the introvert thing because some people draw energy off others. But when I feel like I'm giving energy, I'm not even getting it back. It's just like, I feel like a vampire has been sucking on me.
Now, are there breaks in between people?
Many breaks.
No? Well, no, there weren't. It's pretty fast. It's a very it's not a long event, right? Like you're there, you're gonna go on like 8 dates for the amount of time you usually would spend on like one date, like one app date.
Oh,
and so it is quick, and so like to Danny's point, I do think like of course, like any social event is gonna drain your energy if you're an introvert, but. I still like it. It's still like a welcoming and fun experience, and like you just got to recoup afterwards. But yeah, definitely like, it's a good note for anyone going on dates out there. If you're not giving anything to the person to work with, it's not going to be a fun experience for them. So I think like stay in the moment, make eye contact, figure out where the connection is there, because like we're all humans. We can all find something to talk about. Like we can all connect on something.
Wait, no, so you said he went on 8 dates, but there was 12 people. So are you matching not everyone up with each other?
So there were 30 people total at the event. Okay. And I don't know exactly how many rounds I did at that event, but I don't usually do the full 15 or however many is there because I want you to have more time with people instead of being jamming it all in. That's part of the reason. Another part of the reason is because the matches are curated, so I kind of think about who would want to meet who. Gotcha. And then third, I want everyone to have the experience of like meeting organically afterwards. So like I want to leave people there for you to like be able to approach and like have that organic introduction, that organic meet cute. And so I'm like really kind of trying to attack it at all angles. So that all of our bases are covered. Right? Exactly.
So was there anyone that you weren't on a speed date with that you then met after?
Yes, and I put her name in the thing. I didn't really think she was going to put me, but she was very vivacious and very like fun. And we were talking.
She did give me feedback on you.
What'd she say?
Okay. Wow, scary. She gave you feedback.
No, like not feedback about nothing bad. She said that she like would be friends with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, hell no, dog. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I thought she was cool. Well, yeah, and that's what your prompt was. It wasn't who do you want to marry. It was simply who would you want to see again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. But you don't get the speed. But I don't get her number or anything. From
I can, but I know that wasn't like your intention. Wasn't like I want to make some new friends
in her survey.
Well, let's not get too into it. Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
But do you want to share about the matches thing or no?
What, Sarah?
Oh, about how you weren't.
Oh yeah, so okay. So after I did the event, which I thought was great, then you send a follow-up email, and I love this. There's no exchanging of phone numbers. You don't have to deal any with that, which I love because it just takes all this pressure off. And so I didn't really think. I will say there was one person that I thought I had a lot of fun with. I did not think we were really compatible. But it was just fun. It was a good interaction. I kind of felt like I killed. I threw like 2-3 jokes. They all hit really hard. She was laughing really hard. And I was like, I might as well put her name. I felt like I had a good set.
Yeah.
You had a good set, Danny. That's not how you think about dating.
That's how I do.
Seriously.
I think about everything this way. I have to kill constantly. Otherwise, I'm bombing. They hate me.
So you're just bombing your whole life?
Yeah, thanks, Shannon. So anyway, I was like, I felt like I had to be a good sport because I met with you. And also I just felt like you preach a lot of openness. And I'm realizing too, I had this thought. You were like, Danny, don't be, dropping your deal breakers. Like just go in with an open mind. And I think that's a much healthier attitude. And there were people, by the way, who as soon as the event ended, they just booked it on out of there. And it just gave me such sourpuss energy.
I felt like most people stayed. Stayed pretty full.
Oh my God, most did. But there was 1 or 2 people that like just jetted. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, you came here and you didn't want to meet someone. Really, you didn't want to meet someone. You have a fantasy of what could happen. You thought Michael B. Jordan would be there. And I want Michael B. Jordan to be there. You know, I mean, Michael B. Jordan.
That's true.
Right? But you know, it's ridiculous. It's like it's closed offness.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I thought true to the spirit of that. And I knew it was going to be an ego bruise if I didn't get any matches. So I was like, I can preserve my ego or I can take the ego hit.
Oh, by not putting
putting any matches, right? But then it's a foregone conclusion.
Right.
So I said, let's roll these freaking dice, baby.
I think the number one thing that'll help so many people is to just remember that not everyone dates how you date. I don't mean you specifically, Danny. I just mean like you out there in the world. Yeah. Not everyone dates how you date. Not everyone thinks the way you do. They probably think differently than you do. So, you know, if you let's hope everyone thinks differently than Danny. But yeah, I think be open, and if the other person isn't open back, then fuck them.
There we go.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
right.
I like that. See, that's
like that's a them problem,
yeah,
right?
Because
and even you saying I don't know, we weren't compatible. How do you know that? How do you know from
exactly.
5 minutes that you weren't compatible?
Exactly.
You don't know.
Exactly. I thought, look, there are some sparks. I got some sparks. Some sparks flew in a very brief period of time.
If this person made you smile, if this person made you feel comfortable around them, and you had a nice conversation, they should be going on your list of people that you want to see again. That is the barometer.
They didn't put me down. Apparently, someone put me as a friend.
They're not dating like you.
That's fair.
You're in this new phase of Danny era where you're like, I am open. I'm open to what's coming my way, and I'm just beautiful
Danny
things are going to happen.
Did not meet his future border wifey.
No, but I got a friend potential, and I got a great dating coach, which is all that matters.
And you also met 2 people you kind of knew. Bromance.
Yeah.
You met a man.
Yeah, we got a bromance.
And we should curate an entire event for
me
skiers.
Ooh.
And two-wheeler and like one-wheeler fanatics.
You can't go, there's no skates. Oh my God.
Maybe it'll be on the slopes and you have to like speed date while you're going down the hill.
Shannon's like, I can do the double blacks. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm going down the chute. I'm going down the
And then the ski lift right up is like really the time to get to know each other.
Yes.
And then you can
And I'll have little prompts in the ski lift.
The speed date up the lift.
Yes, up the lift.
I love it.
Honestly,
can we get that sponsored by like where do you go skiing?
Oh
Mammoth.
Boy, yeah, Mammoth. That's the one. 3 feet this weekend.
We have
folks.
issues with them, though.
Oh no.
We wrote a review.
Oh yeah.
Together?
A girl fell off the lift, and I got mad. I didn't like how it was handled.
Did you catch her?
They caught her
even
with
try.
a net, and she hit ground.
Ugh.
It's a deceleration net, they say. Anyway, it's a whole thing. But I did want to say, I wanted to say thank you. And I think what you're doing, I think it's brave. Like, I think a lot of people, it's a live event business. You're the face of it.
Yeah.
And I see why you're with us. You know what I mean? It's a ballsy thing, you know? And I mean, I had this impulse. I mean, obviously it wasn't like ugly, but I thought of you and I was like, it's her fault. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
Oh my God.
Well, but it's a thing. Like, you're the curator, like, and you are wearing part of that. And I mean it. I think it's brave.
It is.
You know, it's brave.
It's so
it really
cool.
is. It's a really cool thing.
And it's your company? And do you own it with anyone else? Because I saw that there was some other, or you have other matchmakers or
I mean, I definitely have like I said, like hosts that help and people that help me behind the scenes here and there. But yes, it is. It is my thing, and
that's so awesome.
And you're right; a lot does fall on my shoulders. But
have you had any? Well, we don't maybe, but any like psycho people being like really pissed at you?
No, thankfully, I hope never to. But of course, there are always like people that are difficult to deal with.
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely always like some unhinged behavior,
or just people that are very demanding, probably.
Yeah, I think that here's the thing. Dating is so vulnerable, right? Like this is one of the most vulnerable parts of your life.
True.
And like Danny wanted to blame me. Like you need someone to blame sometimes when things don't go your way.
Right.
And not everyone is like Buddha, right? That can be like, everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So like, I am the scapegoat if you are feeling rejected.
It was a fleeting thought, to be clear. You know what I mean?
You know, that's not true. He did harass me.
He did.
He never harassed you. Well, it was awesome. I'm looking forward to the next event. And then we also have a coaching session.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. We got to improve. You know, there were some
can't
botches. We're going to
wait.
clean it up for round 2 here, folks.
Yeah. And so follow them, Speed Date LA on Instagram.
Yeah.
She actually posts a lot of interesting, like you were talking about some books and different kind of like, you know, dating theories and
Yeah,
things
dating
like
advice.
relationship advice.
Yeah. And did we give the website here? Chemeya Dating?
ChemeyaDating.com. So CHEMEYA dating.com.
So
and
cool.
what is that? What is that word?
Thank you for asking, Shannon.
course.
So I'm Greek, and the English word for chemistry comes from the Greek word chemia, and so it is a crossover between chemia and chemistry. So Chemeya.
I love that.
And you asked that at the event as well.
I did, yeah. I wanted to start educating people on the name and what it means and what's behind it because I think it's special.
And she has a really cool jacket on that she
I
got
do.
embroidered
It's a
with
great
the
jacket.
logo on it. If you want to check it out on YouTube, we're color coordinated right now.
We are so color
and our hair
coordinated.
is very coordinated as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, you guys look fantastic. All right, so speaking of avoidant attachment styles,
Oof.
I know Shano here. How long I known you, Shano? Feels like for fucking ever.
Yeah, too long.
Shano, and shout out to Ken. Ken, thank you for making the memes. Ken saw me on this because he's
Oh my
known
God,
Shano
Ken's
forever.
so funny with
Get
these
this.
memes.
I see Shannon once a week. I think if I see my other friends, we go for a little hug. It's nothing serious. It's not a big deal. Now Shano starts in. Sometimes I want to hug. Sometimes I don't want to hug, you know.
Is that what I sound like?
And just sometimes it's like, I don't want to hug, you know. If it's a hug day, it's a hug day.
You called me out. I didn't just say this out of nowhere.
I know, but I also, and then I was like, maybe we just don't hug now. Because now when you don't hug.
Let's just, because
We're going
now
no
it's
hug?
on my mind all the time.
Oh my
Whenever I
God.
see you, I'm like, Jesus Christ, do I have to hug him now?
Can't stop thinking about it.
Yes.
Well, Shannon, you hugged me today.
I am a hugger.
But Ken saw me. He's like, why isn't the policy to just hug? I'm a hugger. I hug in, a hug out, whatever, no problem.
Hug in, hug out. Wow.
It's not so, well, yeah, I guess that's a question. Do you hug in and hug? I guess you don't need to hug out necessarily. You hug
Really?
in.
I
Well-
feel like the hug out is almost like more.
Natural.
I don't
I think you
know.
should go with whatever feels natural in the moment. Don't force the hug if
Yeah.
it's not there. It's okay.
I don't want it to be so political. I just thought we hugged because our friend Shannon looks so
Oh my
exhausted.
God.
But anyway, shout out Ken. He's making memes. We love to see it.
What does Ken have to do with the hugging, though?
Oh,
Well,
he
'cause
was
Ken's been her
making
friend forever.
he was making
Oh, okay.
memes about like Shannon deciding who she's gonna hug that day, and it was like the soup man from Seinfeld or whatever.
Oh, man.
Anywho,
Well, great.
let's get into it.
We're gonna get into it. We've got some kind of dating oriented situations, right?
We sure do.
Our second story of the day, guys. AITA for expecting my BF to not make plans on weekends. I'm busy. Oh, I'm sorry. AITA for expecting my BF to not make plans on weekends. I'm busy. That's a totally different title. I really confused
I'm
that.
busy.
Wait.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon. We've got over 200 now. We are over 200
Finally.
bonus episodes. Shano and I, the classics, Sarah and I, Shake, you know it is there, people. Discord, popping off, $5 a month, tons of content, all ad-free. Timestamps are accurate. We love to see it. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube. What's the other one?
TikTok.
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Shano's posting the hottest memes, Insta stories. You get it.
From Ken. Hottest memes.
There we go.
Yeah, your meme game has been on fire.
Thank you. That's all thanks to Ken.
Nice.
Ken's killing it. All right, guys. Let's do this thing. AITA for texting and ignoring a man during a speed dating break. Got just the person here for this, guys. My sister and I went speed dating at this cool local bar that had a big upstairs room used for private events like this. The bar and restroom were downstairs. There were about 20 women. Each was seated at her own small numbered table throughout the room, and the men rotated through. Each date lasted 7 minutes, then a bell would ring, bing, and the men would move to the next table. Halfway through, we had a 20-minute break. Almost everyone went downstairs to use the bathroom, grab a drink, and stand up around the bar to mingle and chat. I was in the middle of a pretty intense text argument with my brother, who had been staying with me recently. We've always gotten along really well, and this is the first time in our adult lives we had argued. I was absorbed in our text conversation, so I opted to stay seated at my table upstairs and used my break time to text him. After a couple of minutes, the man slated to sit at my table came and sat down with me. I was kind of surprised because everyone else was chatting and I was clearly engrossed in my phone, not giving off any kind of I'm open to talk energy. I smiled as he sat, gestured at my phone and said, sorry, I'm in the middle of something I have to handle. Then I proceeded to ignore him for the rest of the break and kept texting. I'll add that he was quite unattractive and I had zero desire to talk to him at all. Edit, yes, if he had been attractive and had good energy, I would most likely have put my phone away earlier and talked to him. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but it's true. When the bell rang, I put away my phone and focused on my date. I smiled and apologized again, saying that I had something I had to take care of. To my surprise, he just stared grumpily off to the side and said, no, don't put your phone away. Just stay on it. I sort of laughed and said, you don't want to talk? Let's talk. He just sullenly ignored me, so I shrugged, pulled my phone out again, and continued texting my brother during our 7-minute date. Again in quotes. Some of my friends think I was being an a-hole by ignoring him since he's a human being and it was just a few minutes. And I went out to socialize and meet men. I contend that the whole point of speed dating is I only want to talk to these guys for 7 minutes. And he had no right to plop himself down into my space and basically demand I give him my attention for an extra 15 minutes during break time, which I'm free to use however I want. My sister theorized that based on his looks, he's probably been getting rejected and ignored by conventionally attractive women like me for his whole life, and probably has a lot of pent-up resentment and anger. I don't know. I really had no desire to hurt his feelings or make him feel rejected, and I think he took it way too personally. AITA.
I like that she was like, conventionally attractive women like me.
That's right.
I'm hot, by the way.
Just so you guys know.
Did I mention?
I'm pretty.
I'm so hot. He was so uggos. And if he wasn't uggos, yeah, maybe I would have talked to him.
I don't blame her for that.
What?
I would have done the same thing.
You would have
If I was in the middle of if I was on my break and I was having an intense conversation and someone that I didn't think was good looking came and sat down and interrupted my break, I would probably be like, oh, I'm sorry, like I'm just going to finish the text. But if he was hot, I would have been like, oh, hey, actually, what's up?
Okay. Well, this isn't about you.
No, that was Shannon's submission.
Oh, shit. You wrote this?
Yeah.
I have to say, when I first read it, I was on her side. But now on the reread, and especially after all our conversations, I have to say, Shanno, I don't know. I'm not with that.
What? This was the break.
It's kind of like, why did you come to this thing?
She was having an intense argument.
No, she was arguing with her brother over text message. I guarantee you this was the most useless bullshit waste of time. This is a story about someone who has poor impulse control and is actively stepping in their own way to not be present at an event that they went to and paid to be at.
Disagree. It's a break and he's an uggo.
No, ma'am, I'm not agreeing.
Well, I don't care. What do you think, the expert?
Yeah, I think it's funny referring to it as a break because, like, it was a break from, like, the dating rounds, but it wasn't a break from the event, right? The event was still going on. Mm-hmm. So I think it's funny referring to it that way because it makes me think of, like, a work break where, like, this is a job she was at.
Clocked out.
Yeah, so she wasn't clocked out of the event. Like, the event was still going on. However, I will say, I do agree that no matter what, like, no one is, like, demanding like no one can demand your time, especially a stranger. A stranger cannot come in and demand your time. Mm-hmm. So to Danny's point, like you're there for this experience, be in it, be invested in it. When you're on your mini dates, be on the mini dates. And it sounds like she was willing to do that. It sounds like when she went to sat with this guy, she was like, okay, I'm ready to be present. But in that moment, when she wasn't seated with anyone in specific, she wanted to spend her time arguing with her brother. Maybe she's dating her brother. We don't know. So
like that.
Sounds
That's
like
a good dig.
Sounds like that was more important to her in the moment. And 100% she would have put her phone down if it was a guy that she was into.
Definitely.
And it does make you think, like, why are we only giving certain people respect, right? Why are we only giving people respect based on what they look like?
But that I don't
That's not part of the
agree
question.
with because she was being respectful. She was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm dealing with something right now. Like, if anything, I think he was being disrespectful from like coming into her space while she is like clearly trying to sort something out.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that like, oh, she needs to treat him like, oh, if he was good looking, she should treat him with respect. And he's like, you know, not good looking. So she is open to be rude to him. Like, I don't think she is being rude to him. I just simply think I think she was being polite. She's like, oh, sorry, like I have to deal with something right now. And I don't think it matters what he looks like, but I do understand her impulse of being like, well, I looked up, I didn't really see that he was like my type necessarily, and I was trying to deal with this thing. But if he was someone I was attracted to, maybe it makes me a bad person, but I would have maybe been more inclined to give him my time.
It's hard because like, he was probably doing something that was vulnerable for him.
Yes.
And as we have discussed, men are not good with vulnerability. Men are not very good. They're very sensitive creatures. And
Hey.
Danny, you are a sensitive little boy.
I know, I was joking. I'm very sensitive. I cried a lot.
Got him.
Got him. So I think he was doing something that was hard for him and he felt really rejected. We weren't there, so we don't know if she was actually being polite in her dismissal of him or not. He probably felt like, wow, this bitch. And still, even still, with that being said, I do think it is her prerogative to spend her time where she's not on any dates in particular. If she wants to spend her time talking to her brother instead of connecting with other people there, that's going to bite her in her own ass. And that's not on him to fix. And honestly, up until the point where they hadn't had their date yet, I was kind of like, you know, like no one has done anything really wrong yet. But then when she went and sat with him and he started being like a little bitch, then I was like, no, sir, now you're in the wrong.
Yeah,
I'm with that. I think my issue was what she did within her rights, 100%. And I have another example. And I actually think these events, and I found myself thinking that there's something about your event that brought comedy to my mind, just because, I mean, it's an interaction between people, and a lot of people like meet people at comedy shows and whatever. And I was thinking about these open mics I go to. And sometimes I go and everybody's writing notes the whole time while I'm on stage. And it's like, dog, if you didn't work on your joke, like, you're not ready. It's not, the difference now of you working on your joke is not going to make your joke good. What you're doing is being shitty. And then the paradox of it is, what do you want when you go on stage? Well, you want everyone to pay attention. Now, don't you? And so it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it's the same thing. It's like, well, if you only give the people that you think are so attractive energy at the speed date, then guess what? All the people who think they're better than you are going to treat you like shit. And how's that going to feel? Which is not what she did. Okay. She did give him the energy during the structured portion. Yeah. But, and I think you're nailing this, and I think your events nail this, is it's not literally just that. You have to be open to the kind of open-ended sections where the magic can kind of happen. And that's so, like, there's so many studies that show, like, one of the things that work from home has fucked up is there's no chance encounters. Like, there's no opportunity for me to run into my CEO on fucking Zoom. You know, there's no opportunity for that. How could that happen? It's impossible, right? But it used to happen by the proverbial water cooler. Like, hey, oh, what's going on with you? And a lot of these chance encounters are so important. And so I guess my ding on her, at least the ding I'm trying to land, is like, you went to a social event and you're having a text argument with your brother, which it wasn't an important argument. It wasn't something that needed to be settled. It wasn't news that her dad died.
You don't know that. I know it wasn't that her dad died, but you don't know that it isn't something
it's
that
an
needed
intense
to...
text argument. I mean, I feel like that's...
You know...
No? I take her word for it that she needed to handle it right now. He's staying with her. It could have been like... like, I'm locked out, or like, I don't know, something.
No, you're not.
I think
it
something
seems
that
like she needed to handle it.
I think that's something that addresses both of your points, is like, she could have gone outside to do this, where she wasn't in where the event was happening, where people were all there to mingle. She could have stepped out to handle this situation where, like, she would have had her space to do her own thing. No one would feel rejected because she wasn't responding and she was like acting cool and aloof in a social situation. That could have been an easy out for her.
Yeah. The only thing though is that everybody went downstairs to go to the bar and mingle, and she stayed in the room where nobody else was.
Oh, she did? Okay, I thought she had gone downstairs. Okay,
then,
that's different.
Came in and sat in his next seat, but it was 15 minutes before the time, and I believe her that she was trying to deal with it. I mean, it was probably stressful for her. She says it's the first time we ever argued in our adult lives. That would, I mean, look, I don't like arguing through text. I don't think anyone should ever have an argument through text. You should do it on the phone or in person because tone and everything. But I'm almost thinking of it more as even handling a work thing or something. And it's sometimes that stuff is timely, and I don't know. I think it's okay for her to be I'm sorry, I need to handle this.
It's fine. It's awkward for sure if he was sitting there at the table with her.
But the way he responded, I mean, you can't get behind the way he responded.
No, there's no way. There's no way he's walking away without it. I think I'm just trying to land some charges on her because I guess I can give you that it might be info on her, but I'm you're having a text argument. What you're doing is inherently toxic in my view. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't agree.
Has anybody ever had a text argument where we go, I'm so happy we resolved this via text? Has this ever happened in the history of the world?
No.
So
I don't think so.
I think that it was probably affecting her ability to stay in the moment. It was bothering her and she wanted to just
handle it.
And I think that's totally fair. I do think that she could have kind of if she was sitting in her seat and he was coming to sit in technically his seat as well, I can't blame him for going to sit down. And so if she needed privacy, instead of sitting there awkwardly, maybe she should have just gone up and moved at that point.
Or been oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want to sit here and do this in front of you, but I really need to handle this. So I'm going to step outside, but I'll be right back.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, maybe that would have been the more polite thing to do. But
because it is awkward to be sitting at the same table with someone that you're about to go on a date with and they're just on their phone. Of course, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think I would
that doesn't
remove myself.
Yeah, exactly. But that doesn't change the fact that she had every right to do that.
And then he's and then she's trying to be present with it. And he's no, don't put your phone away. Just stay on it. I just told you I'm sorry. I need to handle this.
This is how I'm going to push back on you. Now I have it.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, she writes, if he had been attractive and had good energy, I would have put my phone away earlier. That's it. So this wasn't an argument that needed to be settled. It was because she was judgmental about him and viewed him as an Uggs, that she just thought it wasn't important. It wasn't vital. He wasn't locked out. He wasn't being attacked by a jaguar. It was a non-vital thing. She was wasting her time because she didn't want to fully invest in the event. She wanted to have this intense bullshit text argument, and I've been there. Who hasn't been there? I'm going to get you, But I think that's my ding for her. I'm yeah, you judge this person. You weren't communicating with them. You admit yourself that you did not need to, and had you deemed them attractive, you would have. And that's closed off. It's a soft ding. I think what he did was way worse. It was unhinged what he did. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But she was also being shitty, and I think you nailed this. She's not the asshole in the situation, but you said it earlier of she's gonna pay for this kind of attitude because it's self-defeating. Yeah. And then later with the sister, they go in on this poor fucker. Oh, he's always been ignored by conventionally attractive women and has a lot of pent-up resentment and anger. And it's yeah, but you're the one sitting there angry texting. So this is also a story about you and your little petty habits.
Yeah, I really don't like what the sister said. I don't necessarily agree with it at all.
You know?
I definitely don't think she's leading from a place of openness or kindness. I think that she's I know exactly what I want. Mm-hmm. Probably is not what she's going to end up with. And I'm unwilling to explore. I'm unwilling to be open in this moment. And I'm going to let this guy know that I am a little bit better than him. Yeah. I think that's definitely the vibe that she was putting out for sure.
I see that. I think maybe ESH then.
I could go with that.
I don't even need to go that far. I think I was more vying for asshole out of the situation, but I'll meet you guys at ESH. Hell yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, that's what you were arguing for.
AITA for texting, ignoring a man during a speed dating break. We agree. It's
soft ESH.
Soft ESH.
All right, guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Here's Shano.
AITA for expecting my BF to not make plans on the weekends. I'm busy.
Uh-oh.
I, 23F, and my boyfriend, 22M, have been dating for 7 months. We live 45 minutes apart, so we typically spend the weekend with each other. Normally, I go to his place because it has more privacy. When I'm over there, he will hang out with his friends once in a while. Sometimes I go with him, other times I don't. I also drive 20 minutes every Tuesday to watch him play flag football. He frequently takes naps with me, always plays an hour or more of guitar daily. I don't mind that. I push him to follow his passions, and he goes to the gym daily. None of these things would bother me if I felt like I received the same amount of effort back. This weekend, I am busy on Saturday, so I have to be at my place. When I told him this, his response was, I'll make plans for Friday with the boys. I'll come to yours after on Friday night. I kind of looked at him funny, not understanding why Friday, since I already can't see him one day already. I then expressed that it made me feel a little sad, but I understand. I also expressed I'm probably more bothered because I know I can only see him one day the next weekend too due to some plans I have. One of which he was invited to and he declined for his own plans. Typically, I see my friends bi-weekly or once a week because I'm at his place. He will have seen his friends 3 days and me only 1 full day this week. The next morning, I said goodbye and I'd see him Friday night. He then tells me, oh, did I not tell you I have plans Saturday morning too? I got mad and I just said, maybe don't come over on Sunday. I love you and I have to go to work. I just feel like I sacrificed more for him regarding my time so he pursues his interests and can see his friends, as I've even sat at his house while he goes with his friends sometimes multiple days in a row. Feels like now that I'm busy, he's going out of his way to make plans, so he's also busy. But on days that I'm free to see him when he could plan for the day, I'm not free. The nuance here is, what if his friends aren't free, in quotes. My problem with that argument is they didn't have plans in the first place and still don't. He's just hoping to work something out. I feel like my boyfriend doesn't prioritize my time or seeing me. AITA. And this was a listener submission, by the way.
I've got a hot take, so I want to let you guys go at it for a bit and we'll see.
Well, I definitely remember having this kind of attitude when I was younger, like especially with my high school boyfriend. Like I would just do whatever he wanted to do. And I would go over to his house and he would just want to play video games. And I would just sit in the basement and just like watch him play video games. And like, quite frankly, I just wanted to have sex. And he was like, just playing the video game. And I was not like confident enough to like be making moves. And it's not like that's all I wanted to do, but there was times it was like, Jesus Christ, like I want to be intimate with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want your attention.
Right.
And you're just making me fucking sit and watch you play video games for hours. And I was just so bored and like so resentful too, because I was like, you're not prioritizing me at all. And like, Jesus Christ, you're not even like trying to fuck me. Like, my God.
Yeah.
So I know that feeling, and they are young. And I think it took me even years to start like speaking up for the things that I wanted and even my current relationship.
Yeah. I think that what she's describing is so common in relationships that are like heterosexual, where women are like, have been taught to be so supportive, right? Like women are constantly uplifting their partners, the people in their lives. And men are not taught to do this in the same way. And I think that this does show up in relationships where, you know, she's not feeling prioritized. And they need to have a conversation, right? Like they both need to be vulnerable. She needs to be vulnerable with her feelings and really share how this is affecting her and why. It sounds like they're still spending time together, which is the important thing. But the part where she said he doesn't actually have plans with his friends, he's just leaving space there for that would really hurt me. Yeah,
because she's his second option.
Yeah.
In all of these situations.
That's so hurtful.
I'm just going to say it. Don't date men who play video games. Enough. It's time to grow up. Get a one wheel or a snowboard.
Yeah, those are the only hobbies.
I struggle with the video gamers. I just don't talk about it. But anyway, so listen. I think here's my conspiracy theory. she's busy on Saturday, okay? Which is saying, basically, make your plans on Saturday. No fuck.
Yeah.
What does he say? Okay, I'll make plans for Friday. I'll come to yours after.
What sense
I
does that
view that.
make?
I think it makes perfect sense. And this is my conspiracy theory. That's just straight up emotionally abusive right there. Now, it could be I'm 20 years old, emotional abuse, not like hardcore levels. But like, it's just so bizarre, right? It's confusing. It's a bizarre response. Like the math ain't mathin'. And it's basically saying like, oh, you're trying to carve out time for yourself. How does this feel? Your second priority on my Friday. I view that as like a jab back. And she's just like,
because she's busy Saturday.
how dare she? How dare she not? How dare she make plans without him? Because he wants her to leave it open too. And I think a lot of this is immaturity, but I do think guys can do stuff like this, especially, we were talking on the bonus a lot about, it takes time to be a full grown adult. So I'm not necessarily saying he's a conniving psychopath, but.
I also want her though to like do some things for herself and like really grow her own interests and her life outside of the relationship. Sounds like she is very busy already, but like I don't know if I caught what she was busy with. It sounded like it was more work related stuff. And she's supporting his guitar playing passions and whatever else she was supporting him in. So I do want her to have that for herself too and support herself in the same way that she's supporting him.
Yeah, because she's seeming almost like too available and like, I'll just come over yours for the convenience of it. And like, oh, if you want to go hang out with your friends, like, sure, I'll just stay here. She needs more of her own life where then when she is busy on a Saturday, then he isn't like, well, hold on a second. That's my night.
He's definitely taking her for granted.
Why? And in his defense, I think she is very much saying like, I'm yours to play with. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she's just hanging out. Like you ain't got nothing going on. She's communicating that. Like I ain't got nothing going on. I'll sit here. I mean, it's not really appropriate for you to go to someone's house and they're going to play guitar for an hour. I'd be like, that needs to be pretty clear, dog. I ain't going to listen to you play guitar for an hour.
Wonderwall for an hour, learning God. Wonderwall.
No man I've ever hung out with who plays guitar is talented at all. Sorry, Dad. Oh my God.
Wait, who?
Oh, his dad.
Your dad. No, he's
Did you say your dad?
What?
Your dad, right? Okay.
Our dad.
No, I thought your dad's pretty good at guitar.
What?
I thought your dad was
we think
pretty
he's
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he is good. That tripped me out. I was like, how would you know that? You don't. There's no videos online, is there? I don't know. He used to wake us up, though. He used to wake us up. That was his thing. It's kind of cute. Okay, Dad, I like when you do it, but not anybody else. He would wake us up every birthday, fucking loud. At like 7 too. He didn't give a fuck. Yeah, or like a Cuban version.
Oh, that's really cute.
But yeah, she's like, I don't know. I think there is, and I'm happy you said it, Shano. It's like you kind of let yourself get walked on. I mean, you're sitting there watching someone play video games, which is humiliating. Like that's probably a fetish.
Well, if they're in a long-term relationship, like it makes sense where you're like, you start to live your own life alongside your partner, right? Like not every second is going to be quality time that you've carved out together, but that needs to still be there. That needs to be part of your plans.
Right. Well, you're saying, I guess, because I'm seeing this, they don't live together. Like, obviously, if you live together, it's
but
like,
if
babe,
you're spending like every weekend together, it's sort of like in that territory.
Yeah, because they spend a lot. I think they spend a ton of nights together, and she goes to his place because it has more privacy.
I think it could be a little bit, I don't want to say dangerous, but I don't think that's the healthy thing people think it is. I think having a little more intention and going slower and not just spending idle time together, it also just helps keep it exciting. Honestly, it burns out a lot faster if it's just like, you're just kind of doing nothing together. It's like, what are you here to do? You know, I feel like that is how you get into taken for granted situations.
Well, definitely, because he's not even thinking, according to the story, he's not thinking of like what she's interested in. What do you want to do? Let's do something for you. Like, it doesn't even sound like he's even like planning dates for them or anything. Like, it just literally, it reminds me so much of my high school relationship where I would just literally do whatever he wanted and just be there. And it's okay. It's like, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do.
I think it's good to lay down the law. And I think a lot of young women, I mean, look, when I was a college boyfriend, I was a piece of shit. And I remember I was sleeping with this girl and she said, I'm not going to fuck you anymore unless I'm your girlfriend. And I was like, fuck. And then she was my girlfriend, you know, because I was like, you got me.
Oh, it's a
And
little ultimatum though.
yeah, but it was fair. It was like I don't want to do this with you, you know.
Yeah.
And our
Did you want to
It's-
date her though?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
No, I was going to say it's so hard because like ultimatums have such a bad rap, but like boundaries don't. And really, what's the difference a lot of the time?
100%. Boom. She's dropping a lot of wisdom on us today. Wisdom.
Interesting.
I think, yeah, 100%. I mean, look, it's a standard for behavior. It's okay to have standards. For some reason, people are so touchy about this. Oh, how dare you? But it's like, no, it's like, it's my life. And if you're not going to live up to my standards, then you're not going to be my girlfriend and vice versa. And
Yeah.
like,
But then isn't it like, for me, then it's like, okay, but then I just feel like I'm making the person do something. And then I'm like, well, I'm
should.
not
Well, you're
going
getting
to
your
enjoy
answer.
it.
You're getting your answer is what's
Yeah.
happening. Because they're either going to live up to it or they're not. And now you know. And if you don't put that on the table, especially like people like to take the easiest route, right? Like
Yeah.
the easiest possible. So if you're not putting that pressure on, there's no reason for them to take that more difficult route. But if you are and they want to keep you, then they will.
Well said.
I think that's 100%. There's nothing wrong with having standards. And as I've developed a lot more self-esteem, I'm kind of just not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just like, what? Like, yeah, I expect that. Like, that's kind of my low bar. And when we don't, and like, I think we've talked a lot about our codependent tendencies, which like mine is like in a conflict. If somebody tells me like, you're wrong, I'll be like, I am wrong. Of course, I'm guilty. Like, I'll feel guilty and bad. I'm like, yeah, it's probably me. I have a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Shannon's is more helpful. She'll go help people with shit.
I almost did that today.
Oh, no,
I
but you did it?
though. I didn't.
That's a win.
I was working an event and our boss told me I could go on break first, but I was working with my friend and she had her go cover somebody. And I was about to be like, do you want to take your break first?
Mm-mm.
Why? Why would I do that?
It's
Why
your
would I
break.
just offer
It's
that?
your break.
So then I was like, no, it's my break. Why would I
Yes.
say that she can take it?
Shannon Strong.
Did you backtrack? Were you like, do you want to take the break? Just kidding. It's fine. You
Just
lose.
joking.
But look, these are people in their early 20s. They're, you know, their brains aren't developed. They're morons. But I do think that OP's feeling, I'm sorry, I'm not saying OP is a moron. I just think that this guy is, I think they're falling into patterns that are very, very, very common. There's nothing exceptional about this.
Very
Yeah.
common, yes. And I do think exactly what you were saying, like hetero relationships for sure. Because I really do think like the boys are just always going to, asshole boys are always just going to choose hanging out with the boys.
Like that, the way that you said it too.
Yeah.
Boys.
Saturdays
Yeah.
are for the boys.
Yeah.
These are for the boys.
But like, why? I don't get it.
It's Elton John. Saturday night's all right for fighting. So who would you want to be with if there's a fight?
Me.
Boys.
Wait,
You?
is that
Are you a
what he
fighter?
said?
Isn't
Yeah.
that true? Saturday night's all right for fighting? Is that Elton John?
Elton John?
Oh, I always,
Saturday
Barstool
night's all right
does
for-
Saturdays are for boys.
Saturdays for the boys.
For the boys.
Look, it's a complex world out there. I think OP's feelings are valid. OP is
Yes.
basically feeling like she's not being prioritized, but I think OP is not conveying that her time is valuable.
Yeah.
And so it's working both ways. AITA for expecting my BF to not make plans on weekends I'm busy. I think we do agree.
NTA.
NTA.
For sure. No doubt.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this thing up here.
Oh.
Hey,
I thought we did say
AITA
that.
for embarrassing my sister and brother-in-law after I was set up on a surprise blind date. I, 25F, have never been interested in romantic relationships. It just doesn't appeal to me. I'm very busy with grad school, and I like being on my own. I have friends and a dog, and that's honestly enough. I'm happy with my life. My family thinks it's weird beyond belief, and the pressure has ramped up now that my even younger brother has gotten married, and I'm the only one, quote unquote, on the shelf. I haven't heard that. My older sister's husband has been offering to set me up for years because I'm, quote, too hot to stay single. Your older sister's husband said that?
Yep.
Whatever that means. I've always tried to refuse politely, but it's wearing thin. I was visiting home my parents this weekend, and my sister invited me out to dinner at a new restaurant. It was an upscale place. She said, wear something nice. I thought it was just going to be the three of us, but there was another guy in the car when they picked me up. He said he was brother-in-law's friend, Joe. Hi, I'm Joe. Awkward, but not too unusual. We get to the restaurant and sit down, and Joe keeps trying to make conversation with me, with brother-in-law and my sister egging it on. And I finally joke, am I on a date or something? What's with all the questions? And my sister straight up says, yes, we thought you just needed a little push. So we decided to set you two up. I asked Joe if he knew about this, and he admitted that brother-in-law told him he wanted to set him up on a blind date, but that he was glad he came. So I was the only one I didn't know it was a date. I was mad, but didn't want to cause a scene. So I finished dinner and gave really short responses to questions. So you're in a PhD program? Yeah. Oh, what's that like? Busy. And the evening just stayed really uncomfortable. Joe apologized in the car, and I told him it wasn't his fault, but probably shouldn't let brother-in-law send him up again, as I wasn't interested in dating anyone. Apparently, he told brother-in-law off in the car about making him look bad, so he didn't even have a chance. Sister's mad because I was rude and embarrassed them when they were just trying to help me out of my shell. My parents think I should have appreciated the gesture and given Joe a chance because you never know, and want me to apologize. AITA.
I hate when people say, why are you single? You're so attractive. You're so beautiful. Like,
Yeah. As if it's not, as if
Why
the
is-
option is potentially that I just haven't found somebody that I'm interested in. Like, why is it about that something's wrong
and
with
why
me?
is it a physical thing? Like,
True.
I've heard that before, and
No,
it's not a fun.
definitely.
I don't like it. It's annoying.
Okay, so next time I'll say, you're so ugly. Why are you single?
Yeah, well,
That's
it's
better.
easier to
Or you're
date.
so smart. Why are you single?
Oh, okay.
You could do some.
Or like even asking someone why they're single in a way that's like implying that they want to not be single is like weird.
Exactly.
It could be like, you know what I mean? Like it's implying that being single, there's something wrong with you.
Well, it's just like any of those questions that people do. And hey, I mean, I used to ask people this all the time, and I've definitely learned to like not do it. But it's like, well, when are you having kids? When are you getting married? Well, it's like you
Yes.
don't know people's circumstances, and a
Yes.
lot of that stuff can be touchy subjects.
Totally, can be
and
so
you're kind of
triggering.
like being a dick by asking, because it's almost like you're just assuming that everyone's going to follow this like, you know, normal narrative of society.
I think I'm struggling to go being a dick, but I think maybe not the most savvy questions. I
Well,
can meet you there.
I think that like, why are you single is kind of dickish.
Why are you single? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of saying
The other
like,
stuff isn't, but it's
yeah.
kind of like,
obtuse.
Can be
Obtuse.
overstepping.
yeah,
For
it's
sure.
overstepping.
Like, yeah, why? So you guys don't own a house? Have you heard of the economy? Maybe
Yeah.
you've not heard of the economy.
Truly.
Well, you got the house right from Jay-Z.
Oh yeah,
That's
and
right.
the
I
divorce.
got the house from Jay-Z. That's on the bonus. You guys have to listen to learn the secrets.
Join on Patreon.
Yeah, so I think it's funny because we've been talking a lot about openness on, you know, in regard to the curated singles events, openness. I think openness is a very important trait to me. And because it's openness to experience, to ideas, obviously it's kind of almost synonymous with creativity. To create is to bring something out of the ether that wasn't there before. And then it's me telling a joke about my penis. But the point is that this person is closed off to dating. And big breath there.
Sorry, no, I don't want to interrupt you. I
can
think
interrupt.
really what that made me remember what I wanted to say was that it almost sounded like they could possibly even be ace.
Oh, asexual.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that's I'm not getting that energy at all here. I'm getting that this person is getting a PhD energy.
Sure.
Fair?
Oh, gotcha. Like they're busy.
Yeah, I mean, look, we could. I think playing at ace is going to go a different direction here, but like that's valid. I just view this person as they're getting a PhD. This is a very like career or academic or
Crunch
academic career.
time.
It's a crunch time. It's an all-in thing. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Right now I feel like this to an extent, definitely more than I ever have, because I'm like I need to be a professional comedian. Like I need this. I cannot start a family unless I'm a professional comedian. Like that's just
Men
how-
are so interesting like that.
A professional stand-up comedian.
yeah.
Like touring and all that.
Well, whatever. Professional comedian. My income, I can make a living from comedy, because I don't want to be in a position where I have to work a day job and do comedy and have a family. That's a lot of things to juggle.
Right.
Have you ever
right,
thought
right.
about though that like having the right partner could take you further than you'd be on your own?
It's
Oh, yeah, You're kind
interesting.
of limiting yourself there.
I think I understand where you're going. I mean, I dated a very successful woman who, you know, had big income, and
yeah, but she wasn't supportive.
yeah, I mean, it gets complicated. I think when people come together, it can sort of impair and affect motivation in complex ways. But I feel like that's what I feel. Is that valid though, that I'm allowed to feel that way? I don't feel like that's messed up, right? Like that's.
I'm not saying
yeah.
you're messed up. I'm saying I'm just opening your mind to a different way of thinking.
I'm doing the dating events.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it could play out. And I would be honest about that if it got serious. I'd be like, hey, I feel like I need this before. I'm saying before I start a family. I mean, that's a 2-3 year runway, easy, right?
Yeah, but you could be in a relationship.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
We're talking kids mainly.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, to me, like, I think there is the pathologizing, and I think this does play the ace thing of the single person. And I did it when I was with Sarah on the podcast. She was single, and I had this view of like people in couples are more mature than people. You know, it's ridiculous, but it's natural. I think it happens. I mean, people want to feel good about their lives, so they tell themselves these stories. And I feel like that's what's happening here. They're foisting and projecting this unhappiness and a lack. There is no lack. This person isn't professing a lack, and they basically put her in a weird situation, comparably inappropriate to like, hey, you know, Danny, we set you up on a date with a guy. Like, well, I never said I was into guys, you know. Oh, but you might like, you know, it's just like, well, you think that, but I've never said that. It's not what I want to do, and it's not appropriate.
It's just meddling.
Regardless,
even if it was a woman that they set you up with, it's just like, this family is just like, it's too intertwined. I would say they're too up in each other's business and expecting them to be a certain way. Like, oh, you're getting old. You're on the shelf. Your younger brother's married. That means you need to be married. And like, I don't know. They're just so, it just seems so traditional.
My mom has set up dating profiles for her children.
She has?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there's 6 of you, right?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And then she'll
Where
like present them and be like, so I found this guy for you. And I'm like, oh, my God.
On what dating apps?
Like Greek ones, like Greek dating.
Oh, my
Greek
God.
dating.
Amazing.
Yeah, sites.
Oh my God, olive and fetas. Let's go. It was a coffee and bagel reference. Nobody got it.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know that place. What is it?
I made it up. Olive and fetas. It's like coffee and bagel, the Jewish one.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Creativity is making a Greek side from the evening.
Wait, where are you in the birth order?
Guess.
Middle. Third.
No.
Why do you think I'm in the middle?
Well, statistically, it's a safe bet, right?
I
2/3
would've-
of your siblings are in the middle.
Oh, well, yeah. I would have guessed like oldest or in the top.
That's my second guess, oldest.
Yeah, I'm number one.
You are?
Wow, nice job, Shannon.
It's awful.
Wow, you're number
is.
one.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible.
You got 5 younger siblings.
The oldest of multiple children is definitely well,
None of my siblings like me.
oh, they don't?
No.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a hard place to be.
We only have 5 minutes, but we're gonna have you back on the show anyway. We
I'm
gotta
so
go
sorry.
Dive into this thing. I know.
I know, we need to hear all
whole
about
saga to
this.
go into.
So basically, I feel bad for also the date. The guy that they set her up with, because he didn't know that she didn't know.
So true.
If I was him, I would have reamed my friend out too and like, you embarrassed the fuck out of me.
And then the sister goes at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell?
I think for me, it's like exactly what Danny said. They're imposing this desire on her to want to date when she does not want to.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's something to be said where like someone maybe isn't in touch with their needs. Maybe someone isn't willing to express their true self.
Yes.
And that's a conversation for her sister to have with her in like a much more one-on-one state where they can really like talk about feelings. And like maybe at that point something can happen. But for her to spring it on her this way, so uncool for the date. You're so right. Like, how rude for him.
A waste of time too. You're wasting his time.
And you're making him embarrassed.
him.
You're embarrassing him.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable. I say default, life is like court, no surprises. Okay. There are people who like surprises. I would love to be thrown into a blind date. That would be fun for me. Yeah, that'd be fun. No big deal.
Noted.
Whatever, who cares? But a lot of people hate surprises, and I think that's valid.
I do really like surprises, but I do not think I would want to be on a surprise blind date.
Really?
No, I think that would be
The blind date
uncomfortable.
in and of itsel's is a surprise. So like just knowing that you're going on a blind date, it'll still be a surprise.
Oh, that's a good point. It's almost a double
Yes.
surprise. I can handle the double. Let's read some comments here. Electrical Shard, NTA, what is with people thinking single women need to be in a relation? I have coworkers, husbands say that I need a husband. Classic men. They just have to tell you what it is.
Yeah, always.
Probably gamers. Slender Man is my dad. My older sister's husband has been offering to set me up for years because I'm, quote, too hot to stay single. I would decline to be alone with that man.
Yes.
Not appropriate to
And
say.
she says, OP responds, I try to avoid him. My sister has questionable taste in men, whatever floats her boat, but I'd probably have dropped him off at the rescue to be rehomed already.
So I believe hot is a loaded word. You don't drop hot. Like if I you don't call your friends hot. You can say beautiful, gorgy porgy, whatever.
Gorgy porgy.
I've been saying that so
No one has
much
ever
lately.
called me gorgy porgy in my life.
Oh, you're
so-
gorgy porgy.
You're
girl.
Thank
so
you.
100%
You know?
gorgy.
Hot though, hot is basically kind of saying like I want to.
Yeah, it's
You know,
not
you know, you
platonic.
can't do it. You can't do
It's
it.
uncomfortable.
It's illegal. No hot.
Yeah, or sexy. I mean, that's an obvious one.
It would.
Yeah,
You are
I
so
guess-
sexy.
You're so sexy.
If I wasn't with your sister,
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're lined up on this. I think
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
like she could have been a little bit more just go along with it for the sake of the guy and not make it so uncomfortable because like she really made the evening uncomfortable. But the people who really made the evening uncomfortable is the ones that set her up on a date without telling her.
100%. This is like Saw.
yeah.
It's a casual Saw situation.
And
I
also
want
she
to
wasn't
bang.
like mad at the date, but he kind of became like collateral damage.
That's true.
But she was like mad at them. So I think I would have just been like pleasant for the rest of it and then just been like, what the fuck, stay out of my business to my sister after. But also you don't know what you're going to do in the moment. Like she was upset. And also
yeah.
she probably fucking hears this shit all the time and it's so old from her family.
I would have played a prank on all of them.
Oh, that's right. We got a prankster
Pranks.
over here.
This is the
Join us on
bonus.
Patreon.
We got a great prank she played. She's a pranker. We got to wrap things up here because we're at Spotify. Guys, listen to the pod on Spotify. We love Spotify.
Sure do.
So freaking great. Best listening platform. Not even close. AITA for embarrassing my sister and brother-in-law after I was set up on a surprise blind date. I think we do agree that it's NTA, brother, sister, family.
And not the date, though.
Not
Poor
the date.
guy.
I can't blame
Yeah.
the date.
No,
He's just
he
trying.
didn't know.
Guys,
all right.
that's
Well,
the
thank
show.
you so much for joining us. I'm so
Nia.
glad the stars aligned and brought us together.
Amazing. I can't believe me pissing someone off led to this.
I was gonna say this is just gonna encourage people to write in like pissed off.
Let's go.
The DMs are
Let's
gonna be on
go.
fire.
I don't know what kind of experiential event they have. They're like, come do my Reiki healing. I'm like, all right,
Okay,
let's go.
sure.
Why
Yeah, let's
not?
just do.
Can
a
I
bunch
also
of
come to that one?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. You're invited. Yeah, final plugs. Oh, I lost it already. Chemeya?
No,
Yeah, that works.
Chemeya.
Chemeya.
As long as it's a
Chemeya.
K. It's just not ch. I don't like people say ch because it's ch.
Oh, yeah, CH.
What was the?
Chemeya.
Yeah, but the.
Komodo dragon.
I was thinking of the. What's the casino
Kamehameha?
called?
Oh,
Yeah.
chumba.
Ooh, Chemeya Dating.
But it's Chemeya, not ch.
Chemeya.
Chemeya.
ChemeyaDating.com.
Check it out, folks.
Yes.
Get
Check it
on
out.
there.
Awesome thing. Very recommend. Guys, that's the show. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
We really
Yay.
Did it,
we did
guys.
the what's the
Harmonized?
harmonized on that.
Wow, for once. We never do that.